Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging hour discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your hosts, Bobbi Decker and Buddy Sopay of Sotheby's International Realty, provide education and insights important to buyers and sellers locally, nationally, and globally. Selling your home to a foreign buyer or a new recent transplant to your area? Contemplating a second home or a vacation property somewhere else? Looking to find a solid investor market area? Then this show is for you. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your hosts, Bobbi Decker and Buddy Sopay.
Well, hello there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have another terrific program for you, Bobbi and Buddy. And Joe is not with us today, but he will be back. This is because you and I are taking this trip.
That's right. We're going to have a little itinerary for an important trip, but we also have to make mention we are back on the radio.
Yes.
So guess what? On the radio, we stream live as this is broadcast, and it's still a podcast at the end. You can still find those podcasts at www.bobbydecker.com of all of our shows, even though we're back on the radio, which we really enjoy. It's great to be back on the radio.
It is. AM 1220.
The Wall Street Business Network.
And then we have AM 860.
Yes, which is the answer. The answer. So you're going to find us in multiple places on the radio dial, multiple places on the web, and very soon you're also going to see us visually. We're going to do live streaming while we put these shows together, while we're broadcasting. So yes. We'll have that information for you very soon. That's right around the corner in October.
And the old-fashioned way, if you want to get in touch with me or with Buddy, you can call me at 650-346-5352, or you can text me at that number. You can go to www.bobbydecker.com, or you can do Buddy at Bobbi Decker or Bobby at Bobbi Decker. And then Joe, we've got Joe at RERadiolive.com. So you can get us all over the place. We're just everywhere. We're like a virus.
That's not the picture we want to paint.
Well, we're doing flu season, you know.
No, that's the wrong picture.
What a cute little bug.
Yeah, so Joe often refers to us as his favorite world travelers.
Yes.
So we're going to take you on a little tour of some travel we're going to do, and I'll let Bobbi describe for you the whys and wherefores of what we're doing here.
Well, I think that by now, especially through the podcasts, everyone knows that I've become a certified international property specialist instructor for the National Association of Realtors. So I'm fascinated by the world and all that goes on with it and how quickly it's changing. For so many years, Buddy, it was very static. And in the past 18 months, it has been crazy changing. Crazy. People are trying to cede from their former countries. You've got Brexit. We've got our elections here in the U.S. You've got the elections in Germany. Merkel, you know, she made it back. She was successful. However, she's got a very, very divided Congress, I guess you would call it, whatever they call it.
Their parliament.
But the bottom line is I am fascinated by the way all of these governments work and don't work and everything else. And you and I have the opportunity to go to Central America with a gentleman that we met last year at the NAR conference in Orlando, where I had gone to get that award. And he's just a fantastic individual and is really doing amazing things.
Well, he opened our eyes to the issue of people who are moving out of the United States. As we've done programs in the past, we always can tell you the real data on the people that are moving into the United States from foreign countries. Mm-hmm. And that's also part of Bobbi's CIPS class activities, but we don't have a good way to track the people that are moving out of the United States. So this gentleman with ECI Development Corp gave us some real insight on what's happening for people moving out of the United States, and in his particular case, he's very much an expert and has made substantial investments in Central America. And Bobbi, you mentioned he's now on the board of the National Association of Realtors.
Yes, he's one of the directors, and he's actually not a realtor. No. He's a lender and he's a developer, but they need his expertise. They need his knowledge to be able to track, first of all, why are the boomers leaving?
Mm-hmm. And
how many, and where are they going?
Yeah. So you take a look at this picture. It's kind of a part of this whole global story, if you will, on real estate. Where and the whys of people moving, and some of it gets pretty obvious as you learn more about it. So we're actually have dug in pretty deeply. We've had Mike Cobb on other radio shows that you've heard, other podcasts actually, podcast web radio, and we're going down with Mike to take a look at his various properties and really do some due diligence on what's happening in Central America, which will reflect on the globalness of the real estate industry these days. It is not just, okay, I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I die in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Mm-mm.
I was born there, but I certainly lived in New York, West Coast, East Coast. So the scenario is people look much more at much more diversity and different kinds of issues in lifestyle and economics. So we're gonna really touch quite a bit of that. Bobby, you want to tell them where we're going?
Not quite this minute, because I just want to go. I'm going to go off on a little path here, but just because when we sit and talk with Mike, the reasons for all of this going on right now is the fact that it kind of ties in with our senior living, the fact that you've got 10,000 baby boomers turning 65 every single day.
Yes.
It's going to go on for the next 18 years, making it how many millions?
75 million approximately.
Definitely. And not everyone's saved. The boomers thought they were going to get old. I know I didn't. Not even older. Never mind older.
No, so, we're not. We're not going there.
No. And and they're proving it, because they're just packing everything up and going off to these places. Like we were talking about to that couple that we're so close to. They had a nephew that went down there on a vacation in his later 50s and decided to never come home in Central America. We'll talk about it. He happened to pick Costa Rica. And it's because the lifestyle is not as expensive. It's a good lifestyle. It's a healthy lifestyle. You've got your fruit, your nuts, you've got your sun, you've got your sand, you've got your beach, you've got your snorkeling, you've got your scuba diving, you've got your, But the one thing Buddy and I never do, and that is we never talk about an area that somebody should be investing in it if we haven't gone to see it, and that's why we're doing our due diligence.
Right. From a real estate point of view, you really have three categories here. People do invest. Bobby mentioned that. There are investment opportunities offshore and in real estate. Everybody's portfolio should have a certain amount of real estate in it for a balanced portfolio. And sometimes buying that second home here in the Bay Area can be quite prohibitive, but buying a beach property in one of these countries we're going to be talking about can be very, very attractive. Then, of course, there's the vacation concept. This is where I own it, and I can vacation in it. And how perfect is that? And I can also make some income on it as well. That's beautiful. And then there's the retirement. That's a situation, as Bobby's already brought to your attention, that we've got baby boomers that are, and other folks in that senior group that are not quite flush enough to stay where they are in the United States. One of the reports I saw showed that if you were middle class, to try and continue to live in the San Francisco Bay Area or New York City area, it's almost impossible because of all the costs of property ownership, of all the costs of travel, of all the costs of food and shelter, and all, the list goes on and on. It's all very expensive, and for those people that haven't saved but have the beauty of, thank goodness for Social Security, they can go someplace and actually live with their Social Security money in a very nice way.
And I know one of the big things when I'm talking to older clients go, but Medicare, I can't take my medical. Well, nothing is as expensive as a U.S.-based medical
Yeah, it seems
care. Nothing.
It would seem that way. Anyway,
and we even know that a clinic was started, and we'll be talking about that when we get to that country.
Yeah, one of the properties he's developed. That's a very smart scenario.
And it's an amazing thing. We had people on as guests that talked about having to have something done medically in a country and how much less it was here. It's just all the costs. So, like Mike said, right now you've got your Canadians coming down because those winters are brutal as you age. And the same thing for the Midwesterners, because they can go just straight down to Central America. No time zone changes, anything. Just warmer as you head towards the equator.
Although it gets pretty warm in some of those places.
So I'm going to jump in. We have only about 2 minutes to this segment. We kind of used it all up with the whys and wherefores for going down there. But we're going to start in Costa Rica. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think they call Costa Rica? The what of Latin America?
Okay, this is a quiz. I didn't know we were having a quiz. I'm going to have to say, I don't know.
Okay, it's Switzerland.
Why?
I know that you know because in 1948 they abolished their army. This little Costa Rica doesn't believe in army. Isn't that fantastic?
Sure.
I just think that's great.
That's probably a distinction that's only fits with Switzerland and Costa Rica.
Well, I have to tell you, the reason they did it is because it's for conservatism, conservationism. It's for teacher training. And they said the benefit is evident in the country's 96% literacy rate. Isn't that fabulous?
Ooh, how fabulous is that?
That's a great factor.
Oh, that is a great factor.
Mm-hmm.
My.
Mm-hmm. And much, much higher than his neighbors. It's become the place to go, de rigueur. Everyone loves it.
We'll talk
and we'll
about
jump
it in great
the
detail,
next.
sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're going to just buzz out for a moment here and let you hear the commercial break, and then we will come on back to RE Radio Live and give you the itinerary. It's a really cool tour, so stay tuned.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
Today, Sotheby's International Realty operates in the San Francisco Peninsula and Silicon Valley. They offer exclusive Sotheby's International Realty marketing, advertising, and global referral services designed to attract well-qualified buyers to the company's property listings. They also add new technologies to the 200-year-old tradition of exceptional service, such as their Lifestyles website. Visit them at svlifestyles.com for those that are interested in some of the finer things in life. From exotic cars to yachts, fashion, finance, food, wine and spirits, there is video that fits all those lifestyles and more. svlifestyles.com. In addition, the company and its clients benefit from an association with the Sotheby's Auction House, which promotes real estate referral opportunities with auction house clientele. Visit them at todaysir.com or call 650-597-1800. 650-597-1800.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your hosts for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Bobbi Decker and Buddy Sopet.
And welcome back. Welcome back. We are going to take a trip to Central America, and the countries we're going to be visiting, Buddy and I, on behalf of just becoming more educated with what is going on and the alternatives in the world. We're going to start in Costa Rica, then we're going to fly to Panama, then we're going to go to Nicaragua, and then we're going to end up in Belize. And then I may sleep on the beach for the next month and a half.
When you come home.
I got to come back to the clients, right? They're ready.
It's kind of a whirlwind tour. It's not a vacation. It's going to be a business trip. And the idea is to understand in really firsthand what's going on with the changes that are going on in the real estate industry. Now that it's a global industry, it's always been a global industry, but it's a much more recognized global industry today. And what do you tell your clients that say, I want to look at something different? I'm tired of this. I don't want to do this anymore. We have one gentleman that we work with at Sotheby's who says, I've had it. I can't do the traffic. I can't live this way. It's just too hustle bustle, and I'm coming down to see all the properties that you guys are going to tell me about when I get back. Mm-hmm. So there is a niche group of people in this. He's not an older gentleman. He's in his 50s, early 50s, and he's just ready to go. And, of course, there is this scenario here that if you do own property in the Bay Area and you've had it for a while, you probably have a nice nest egg that can help you do almost anything you want to do. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna jump into these countries a little bit. Bobby was talking about Costa Rica, so we're going to be there. What we're going to see is a property that is on the west coast.
Right, because it's got ocean on both sides. Yeah.
Costa Rica's got Caribbean and Pacific Ocean, and this is on the Pacific Ocean. In fact, this particular property has the second wave break in all of Central America. So it's a surfing paradise, and some people know these, what I'll call semi-out-of-the-way places, because they have particularly unique aspects, and this one has that beautiful surf, and it was a farm, and one had tried to build a hotel there some time ago, and then ECI Corporation came in and bought it, and now they're developing it, and it's open for business, and we're going to go down and see all the aspects of that particular property.
And the Costa Ricans call themselves ticos. That's cool.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I was already off on Nicaragua. I've got to come back to Costa Rica. Sorry about that. I've got to change that. Excuse me. I took you to Nicaragua before we took you to Costa Rica. In Costa Rica, this is an undeveloped piece of property that they own that they're going to be developing in the future, and it's on the east coast. So it's out in the Caribbean. Most of all the development that you've heard about and all the expats that are moving to Costa Rica, most of that development has been on the west coast, on the Pacific Ocean.
On the Pacific Ocean. Okay, I was sitting here wondering where you were taking me.
Where is Buddy going?
See? See, he's rusty. All of you listeners, you're going to have to hang in.
That's why she won't let me do my own programs.
Someone's got to keep you in the right country.
Yeah,
these poor people are going to have the most confusing geography lesson
all
here.
Right, so
okay.
I promise you, we're back in Costa Rica.
Yes, and I'm really excited to go over to the Caribbean side. Because, like you say, it's an undeveloped side, less developed than the other. Although Costa Rica is more developed than any of the other countries that we're going to go be visiting. Yeah. Panama Canal is the Panama Canal, but as far as people loving the frogs and the echo, we're talking about ecosystems, and people are taking not just vacations, but they're taking eco vacations because they want to go and study the environment.
Yeah, in Costa Rica, there's a little irony in this because we talk about the reduced cost, and it still has a reduced cost compared to the United States in so many ways. But as you may recall, we did the 14 best places to relocate or invest offshore from the Huffington Report, and Costa Rica wasn't even on that list. It did not appear on all 14 because it has become so developed, and the costs have grown, and that's part of the idea of investing. You go to the places where the opportunity is early in that investment cycle. So are these other places that we're going to be in, like Belize and Nicaragua, are they going to be the next place where the opportunity for people to move and enjoy a wonderful lifestyle for a different set of economics? Is that a great place to invest? We'll know more when we come back.
And just the fact that, he's on the leading edge of the other countries is just a phenomenal thing. Well, and it's going to be an eye-opener. I mean, jumping from plane to plane like we're going to do. I mean, 2 days here, 3 days there, 3 days there, 4 days there. We better have our track shoes on.
Yeah, we're going to be on the move, and we're going to be on these properties to really evaluate firsthand, as I mentioned, the properties and the accoutrements of each of these properties. And also, the beauty of this is you're going to learn a little something about the culture. We don't have a lot of time in these places, but we'll grasp a little bit about the culture. And Bobby, you actually teach that in your CIPS course, because if you're going to be moving, you're going to be helping clients move to these countries, you need to be able to have a little background on what the cultural aspects are, so you don't come in and make a complete
fool of yourself.
Fool. Okay. Yes. I was going to use a more descriptive term, but I'm trying to behave.
You are, and you're doing a good job. Real good. Yay! You get a little star. No, people are more formal in many ways than the United States. I mean, I see people getting on airplanes in their pajamas. You really should not go to dinner in some of these countries in your pajamas. There is a more of a formality in the demeanor, and we need to be cognizant of that. We need to be aware that there is that type of change and different. How do you do business in Asia? How do you do business in the Americas? How do you do business in Europe? You know, there's a formality that exists that unfortunately is disappearing here in the United States. Although when you go to New York, I notice the business suits, the formality in the meetings. Mm-hmm.
They still dress, and in the financial district in particular. Mm-hmm. And then they have their lovely sports coat, and they put their jeans on when they come here with their polo shirt. And then they fit right in. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if you run a $20 billion company with your blue jeans on, it's okay here in California.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But let's get back to this Central America. Now, we've gone, you know, Costa Rica has, like I said, you had the natural resources that were there that we were talking about with regards to the type of vacations that they're taking. And that is the number one.
Biodiversity,
and the people taking vacations, the tourism is number one now. It used to be the bananas, and they did a lot of
agriculture.
Exports.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So now tourism is top of the heap. Is Costa Rica a bellwether for other aspects of Central America? Mike certainly stresses that it is, and I think it's starting to sound very believable when you find out how easy it is to move to some of these places, and some of the advantages that come along with the properties are just fabulous.
They have terrific, and we'll get into this in the next segment, Buddy, they have terrific expat programs. I mean, when you come in with so much money and you can prove that that's going to be coming to you monthly, such as your Social Security, then you become part of the community. And it's amazing.
Very welcome.
Very welcome. Okay, well, then we're going to break for commercial, and we will come on back to RE Radio Live, giving you more of an update of this Central America tour that we're going to take and how fun and interesting and biodiverse it will be. How's that? Come on back. We've got more to tell you.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your hosts for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Bobbi Decker and Buddy Sopet.
And welcome back. Welcome back. We are just about to leave Costa Rica, but Buddy has a few more points to make about this wonderful little country.
Yes, a wonderful little country and the property that we're going to...
The Switzerland of
Central America. How perfect is that? So we're going to be on the site of the property. It's a bit out of the way. It takes about 2 hours to get there from the airport area, but we're going to spend a day on the property. It's mostly jungle still, no real development, but beautiful beaches. The development is going to be called Grand Caribbean.
Uh-huh.
It will be coming on stream. I don't know when, but when we come back, we'll have more details about that. And we do get to take a day and go to see the volcano and a coffee farm.
Cool.
And then we're off to Panama. Oh, boy, the Panama Canal. And I have to give you a little secret. This has to be pre-recorded because the day that it's going to be airing, we're going to be in a teak forest in Panama. And they say the phone reception may not be good in this teak forest. So ECI also, as much as it owns what we'll call investment and retirement properties and vacation properties, they also are very focused on teak. Interesting aspect is that Panama is a great place to grow teak, and what we understand at this point, and we'll have a great deal more for you in an upcoming segment and when we're back, that market is always more teak is sold than is grown. Mm-hmm. So the cost of teak continues to rise all the time. It's such a beautiful wood, and it serves so many purposes and such It's got a high value. So,
like on your yacht?
Yes, like on your yachts. And they're turning that into an investment environment. But we'll give you some real detail when we have another program here on Panama. We just wanted to alert you that we're going to do a program on Panama, but we'll be in a teak forest that'll have to be pre-recorded.
Right. Well, also the fact that it's such an unusually shaped country. I mean, you talk about the Panama Canal. You talk about. We'll do all of that when we actually single out Panama. But I have to say that it's got 1,400 islands.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? You'd never know that. I mean, you look at the photos of it, and it's so high up, but there are 1,400 islands. I think that's an amazing thing. And the book that you read, The Path Between Two Seas.
Yes, we're going to talk about that when we get into the whole dialogue about Panama.
And as much as I give you grief and aggravation about lots of other things, I have to tell you, I admire the fact that you read that book and gave me a book report, because that was thousands of pages.
700, but... That's still plenty. That's a lot of pages.
That's a lot of pages,
but very interesting. We'll share a whole lot about that.
Okay, so then after we're done with our teak forest and we get on the plane, where's the plane landing next?
So actually we're going to do the teak forest, and then they have a property that ECI is a co-developer of.
Okay.
It's called Los Islostes, if I have my proper pronunciation, but I don't think I do. But it's on the West Coast, and we're going to spend a day at that property. It's an early development. There's nobody that's on site at the moment, as our understanding. They are building the property, and it'll be ready to come on stream. Or parts of it will start to come on stream, as we understand it, in 2018. But we'll have more detail about that. So this is one of those West Coast properties. This one runs up on a hillside, so that makes it kind of fun. So the building concept that they have is every piece of real estate, home, condo, whichever it's going to be, is going to have an ocean view, because it runs up a hillside. If you think about our friends down in Southern California, Orange County, out near the beach, where you've got a bunch of hillsides, and everybody's got a beautiful view of the ocean. So that's a fabulous perspective. Yeah, it's going to be great. And Panama's got a lot going for it, but it's going to be time to move on. We're going to get to see a few things in Panama around the canal. But again, we're going to talk more about Panama in a minute. Now we move on to Nicaragua, where I was before. So I got you halfway into that before I was supposed to. Shame on me.
That geography.
Yeah. Particularly about the property itself. This is one that has probably developed more fully at this point in time, and it's got basically all the accoutrements. Not only does it have this beautiful ocean with a break, but as I've seen the pictures of it, and again we'll have more to say when we return, but the break is out some. I guess there's a reef out there, and then there's a beautiful, quiet, more still beach where there's plenty of room to play. There's golf courses. Guess what? They're growing some teak on that property as well. I understand there's over 3.5 miles of beach. So what a beautiful property that is. 250 acres, private and gated. But Bobbi brought up a really important point about the fact that they are putting a clinic on the site.
It's brilliant.
It is.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because they share it with the natives, the people that actually are living there, and they're the local people, and they have employed the local people. I mean, this is a wonderful thing for the Central American countries, because they've been overlooked.
Yes, if you look at kind of a hierarchy of costs, Nicaragua is one of the poorest countries in Central America. So guess what? That makes the acquisition costs very attractive at this particular point in time. You step up the ladder, and the top of that ladder we've already talked about is Costa Rica, and in between the two of those is Panama and Belize. So the scenario for Nicaragua is it's probably going to be the best buy for a while.
It will, and I think it's because of the bad rap they've had with... the Sandinistas and all that stuff, and people remember that, but our conversations with Mike have been that the government is very focused on tourism and getting the economics of the country in order. Even though they have a communist leaning,
Mike kind of suggests it's sort of like China. Mm-hmm. They may have that communist leaning, but they know that the economics and the value of, so we say, more capitalistic endeavors helps a country to be more successful.
And that is what you're looking at. I know so many really nice, fun, neat people from Nicaragua. They all have family back there, and they go back and they visit. But I have to tell you that I think it's now the time for that kind of investing. And you and I will see it. Yeah. Because, you know, it's just like we did when everyone wanted to invest in, this is a little segue here, but everyone wanted to invest in Las Vegas. You know, I absolutely would not refer them out until I went to see it. And when I came back, I left Buddy here. No fun and games. I went there and I just pounded the pavement for 4 days and looked at everything. And when I came back, my ideas were no, just
don't go.
Absolutely
don't
not.
Go. It was too far
into
the mess.
Do not invest because as you go into Henderson, which was just outside of that Las Vegas stuff, it was for rent, and that was before we had the crash. So every single people had told lenders it was going to be their second home, and they had no intention of doing that. Yeah. So it would have been just a disaster. A couple of buyers went and bought. I did not refer them because I won't. If I don't believe in the complex, you can go buy. I just don't want to have anything to do with it. You know, I never want to be rewarded for having you make a bad decision. So, anyway, and that's kind of what we're doing here. We're going to go down there and see these natives and see the people living there and see the kind of expat things that are going on and see the kind of developments that are going on for our senior community.
Yeah, we'll have some real first-hand feedback from people that have made the move and why they made the move and where they made the move from and what their plans are. What they see as we'll have a great deal to really tell you when we come back. We'll look forward to sharing that with you.
And I do know that not only are the boomers the ones going down there, but millennials who are not tethered to their job. They're not tethered to a physical building they must be in.
Yes, Mike has spent had a very serious focus to make sure that the internet connectivity in all of his properties is satisfactory for those people that want to they can work wherever they want to work in the world because all they really need is that internet connectivity and some proximity to an airport. So that's an important part of this overview of these properties that we'll have a lot more to say about.
And I do want to say one thing about the hurricanes, because everybody asks me that. You know, all the hurricanes that have gone on recently here, over in Florida and all, they seem to miss Central America because of the way it sits in the water. And that's unusual, but it's a phenomenon. And if you go back and you study their weather, you just don't see them landing there. They seem to build strength further out into the ocean and just miss that. Mm-hmm. They can have tremors, but
they have volcanoes.
Yes, they do. They have active little guys.
Yes, so things are going on there as well.
Yes.
But it seems like the hurricane paths, the normal hurricane paths, the most common hurricane paths, don't reach that part of the Caribbean. It's more out in the Caribbean islands that seem to take the abuse.
And then we're going to pack our bags.
Off to Belize.
And everybody seems to want to know everything about Belize.
Well, Belize is very interesting because it's got this background that's a British colony at one point in time. So guess what? It has British law, just like we've sort of adopted here in the United States when we had our little problems with Britain back then. So there's lots to say, okay, I'm very comfortable. So English is a very prevalent language, of course. The banking systems, the legal systems are all in the same context that we understand here in the United States. So it makes it attractive, but it's still one of the new places to go. It's just a little bit south of Mexico and a little bit north of Panama. And it's only got a Caribbean side. It doesn't stretch across like Nicaragua and Panama does from both oceans. But it's an up and coming place. And Mike's and ECI's property is out on Ambergris Key, and we'll talk more about that in the next segment.
Yes, Ambergris Key. It's even fun to say, and it's like the happening spot. So we will come back and we'll put you in touch with a little more information about Belize. And you just stay tuned, because I'll tell you, Central America is just a really interesting place to be studying right now. So stay tuned. We will be back. RE Radio Live. Thanks for tuning in.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your hosts for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Bobbi Decker and Buddy Sophet.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for finding us. We're getting into the spirit of it.
Yeah. We'll do a little dancing in Central America.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes. So, we're in Belize, Buddy, and I wanted to let you know that, that was formerly British Honduras.
Ah.
Yep,
Okay.
A little independent country right there on the east coast of Central America. It's got Mexico above it. It's got Guatemala below it. And then on the east side, you've got the Caribbean Sea.
Yeah, that's a pretty place to be, isn't it?
It is. And people love it because their dollar's pegged to our dollar.
Yeah.
And they speak English, just like you said, because they were British colonies. Yes.
Yeah, so it's got lots of accoutrements, and it's I think it's if you were to say Nicaragua is the place where you're going to get the best buy, I'd say if you're going to get close to Costa Rica prices, it's going to happen in Belize before it happens in some of those other places, is my guess.
All you have to do is to go to the website and you just see Belize.
Yeah.
I mean, those ocean views.
Yeah,
the Caribbean's always lovely. I love Caribbean music. It takes a while to get there, but once you're there, wow. Yeah. It's so cool.
Yeah, so and you think about the fact that the property that we're going to be visiting, which is Grand Bayman, is on Ambergris Caye. You've got a place that's a beautiful island.
Well, a lot of people are starting to look, because I know Sotheby's just opened an office down there.
Yeah, we'll be talking with some of our Sotheby's friends throughout Central America while we're there. But the tourist rate on Ambergris Caye is 70% of the tourism that comes to Belize goes to that key. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, that's a big number. So that says there's going to be some development. And at this point in time, there's no major hotel there yet, but I'll bet not too far off the map. I think there's been some discussions with ECI and a big brand. So we'll see what happens. We might have some new news for you when we come back about that.
Absolutely, and I don't want to forget to tell our listeners about our book, because, we did a podcast on this several months ago, and there is a book that is put out by Mike Cobb and ECI, and we have the questions.
We have it available. Yeah, it's a guide to offshore property ownership. And tell them about the questions. That's very cool.
Ask the 20 questions. I mean, if you don't like things that are different, if you don't like to go to a culture that moves slower than you move, if you don't like certain kinds of foods, then at the end it gives you like a 0 rating. Don't go.
Yeah. So it helps you to really think through.
But realistic.
Are you a candidate for offshore living? And these questions will help you tell you whether you are or aren't. So don't make the mistake of saying, I'd really love to live offshore because it sounds so glamorous. You take these 25 questions and you go through them, you'll find out if you're really a candidate or not.
Exactly.
Because there are some distinct and unique differences in the way, the pace of life, the cultural environment, the foods. Everything has to be kind of understood before you go. Do you fit? So some type A's aren't going to make this.
No, you're not. No, if you need to be in control, if you can't do island time, as we talk about island time, then probably not. But the one thing that Mike pointed out again, and you and I had a couple of chuckles about, was the infrastructure. And I teach this a lot in the CIPS class, is that infrastructure, our roads, just look at Puerto Rico. I mean, look at the devastation because of their infrastructure, the lack of it, with the lack of the roads to get to the people to give them the supply, the lack of the ability to put their electric grid back into service quickly. I mean, those are things that island countries and countries that are not as developed don't have.
You have to think
and you
about
need
those
to think
things.
about that. Could you put up with it? I mean, yes, we can go to these gorgeous places, and we can do it, and
so
we have air conditioning, Bud.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking, what would it be like to be in Maui and have the entire system just go down?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because it gets hot.
It does. And we're talking about Central America. It's hot and humid.
Yes.
We got both. And just to let you folks know, this may sound very glamorous that we're heading off to these 4 countries, but the reality of it is we're heading off in the rainy season. It is hot, muggy, and wet. So this is predominantly a business trip, I have to tell you. But regarding that booklet and those 25 questions, Bobbi, how can they get to you and make sure that they can get a copy of the booklet and the questions? Okay.
It's Bobbi at BobbiDecker.com. You can call or text me at 650-346-5352, and I will make sure that I get them to you. You can also get Buddy at BobbiDecker.com. And it's worth, is it 20 or 25 questions?
It was 25 questions.
It was the 25?
Yeah, 25 questions. Okay. And then the book explains every one of these properties that we're telling you about. It gives you kind of an overview of both the country and the culture and the particular property. So, we're going to be able to tell you all the details on this, even that we couldn't cover in a book. But the book is a great starter to take a look at.
And don't buy sight unseen.
No.
Don't do that. Because, for a variety of reasons, which we'll go into another time, probably when we get back.
Yes.
Because we'll have hands-on stories.
Hands-on stories.
Well, thank you again for coming and tuning into our program, RE Radio Live. Joe, Buddy, and I totally appreciate it. We always want to bring you fun, fascinating facts and also education, because an educated consumer will make the right decision. And thank you again for tuning in. We'll see you in the next program.
You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Tune in, log in, download our podcast. Discover more at RERadiolive.com. RERadiolive.com.